All right. So, um, you have to have a position first, right? So, so here's what a literature review is not. It's not. It's not you reading the literature and then writing the summary. That's what a literature review is not. Okay.
Okay, so
What it is um, what it is you having a thesis, you having a position, something that you believe as an educator researcher, okay, and you are you're providing support to your position based on the literature. Okay, that's what a literature review is. Okay, that's what a literature review is. Literature review is you finding literature that supports your position. Okay, so before you begin writing, you have to have a position. In this case, the topic is about language assessment.
okay,
Right?
language.
So you have to have a position about language assessment. Right?
Okay.
So you first must find what you believe about language assessment. And your beliefs may come from your course reading, your experiences, right? Did you find out what that belief is first? Some people believe that assessments are bad, and some people believe that you should only focus on formative assessments. Some people believe that the summative assessments are essential and vital. Some people don't believe in summative assessments, right? Some people believe that you have to have assessments in order to help you make data-driven decisions. Some people say that we should, that we shouldn't focus that much on assessments and look at holistically, look at the whole student, right? Some people say you shouldn't focus on assessments because assessments typically are not valid and reliable, meaning they don't give you correct data because the assessments are not, they don't assess what they claim to assess, and the results are not consistent. That's what we call validity and reliability, or reliability and validity. Okay, so you have to figure out what you believe about assessments, particularly language assessments, right? So you have a unique position because English is not your first language, and you are a teacher. So, what do you believe about language assessments? Then you need to dig deeper and ask yourself, where do those beliefs come from? Do they come from, are they culturally bound, where the assessment, the test is God? We got to study for the test, the test, the test. We teach towards the test, the test, the test. Or do you or do you believe that, the assessment is just something that we do in school to get grades, but it really doesn't support teaching and learning? Are you in the middle? You have to figure out what you believe first particularly about language assessment. All right. Here in Saudi Arabia and other places in the world, there's a heavy emphasis put on IELTS and TOEFL and TOEIC and all these, assessments, and people pay thousands of dollars trying to get a band score of 6 or 6.5 or 7, or this, 100 and a TOEFL IBT. Is this a good thing? Do all these things support language acquisition? What do we, so some people are turned off by language assessments just because it creates a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. Some people believe that these companies are just making money, and they're not, and it's really not supporting the acquisition of a language.
Okay.
So, you have to figure out what position, what angle you want to take. That's first and foremost. You need to figure out what your thesis is going to be. So you need to do some brainstorming. And after you brainstorm, you need to come up with a thesis statement. Okay?
Okay.
You can look online. Thesis statement must be, you can write this down, it must be specific.
Okay.
Right? You need to be very specific.
Yeah, I wrote very specific.
It must be debatable. Okay? Every thesis must be debatable. Right? Okay. So you can't, in a thesis statement is not, everyone should drink water because we need water to live. Well, that's not debatable. Right? Of course we need water to live. No one can debate that, right?
Yeah.
But you could say, what you could say is everyone must drink spring water because we need spring water to live a fulfilling life. And that's debatable, right?
Yes.
But just to say that we need water to live, we all know that's not debatable, that's a fact. Right? So the thesis statement must be specific. When I say specific, it must speak to a specific topic. It should not be general, it should not be broad. It should be very specific in nature. Very specific in context. It should be extremely contextual.
Okay.
Right? Even if you're talking about, how female sixth graders perceive language assessment tests in Bangladesh. You see how specific that is? We're talking about female sixth graders who live in Bangladesh. That's very specific, and how they feel about language assessment. You see how specific that is?
No, it's in general, like females in sixth graders in Bangladesh.
No. Listen to me. That's very specific. Female sixth graders who live in Bangladesh. That's pretty specific.
Because we are talking about a particular group.
Yeah, we're talking about a particular specific group. Or we can even go deeper. We can go female sixth graders who live in the poorest section of Bangladesh. How do they perceive language assessment? You see, or female sixth graders who are below the poverty line in Bangladesh. So how do female sixth graders who live below the poverty line in Bangladesh perceive language assessments? If we want to go even specific, we could say, what's a poor neighborhood, and what's the capital of Bangladesh?
Dhaka.
Dhaka. I knew that. So we could say, what's a neighborhood in Dhaka? A poor neighborhood in Dhaka.
You mean my neighborhood? You're asking me specific?
No, I say, what's a poor neighborhood in Dhaka?
Poor neighborhood. It depends. Yeah. Like each neighborhood, they have poor. Like we have.
Yeah, give me a poor neighborhood in Dhaka.
In Dhaka, maybe. Actually, I've not been there, so I don't have idea. But I know that in each area, there are specific villages.
Okay, let's say there was a poor village named Dream. Okay, so we can go as specific to say, how do female sixth graders who live in poverty-stricken Dream, Dhaka, Bangladesh, feel about language assessment? You see how specific that is?
Yes.
Now we go into a specific neighborhood. You figure me?
Okay.
You feel me?
Yes.
So,
yes.
So the reason why thesis statements are that specific is because if you want to be what we call a subject matter expert, right, on a topic, no one can be an expert on a broad thing. People are experts on specific topics, subjects,
Okay.
like like how female sixth graders in the poorest sections of Dakar, Bangladesh feel, right? About
Yeah.
language assessment. Okay. So
Okay.
because researchers research and are experts about very specific subjects, thesis statements reflect that. So what I would like for you to do is, you don't have to get as specific as what I just mentioned, but I'm just trying to bring home a point about the thesis statement. It needs to be specific. It needs to be debatable. It needs to be debatable. All right.
Okay.
And it needs to provide a roadmap to how you're going to go about explaining your position. All right.
Yes.
So so you could say female sixth graders who live in the poorest neighborhoods of Dakar, Bangladesh, must not be given language assessments because these assessments kill their efficacy or deplete their efficacy, uh, 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 retards their self-determination, and counsels their self regulation. Okay,
And
that's just
it might
that's
also
the
be a frustration, right?
or frustration, whatever. So yeah, so now that's a thesis statement. That's kind of a rough thesis statement, right?
Okay.
I made it's specific, it's debatable, and then I also basically tell you how I'm going to go about presenting my argument, and that's what a thesis statement does. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now, once you have your thesis statement down, then you begin to outline your work, right? So you basically say you're going to talk about frustration, you're going to talk about this, you're going to talk about self-determination, you're going to talk about regulation, and you begin to kind of what we call storyboard or outline how you're going to go about your essay. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
So now that's kind of like the skeleton, and then you're going to find literature that supports your position. Okay. You're going to find literature. So basically the literature review is nothing more than telling a story that explains what your position is and also supports and defends your position to convince the reader that your position is valid.
Okay. Convinced.
So that's what a literature review is. It includes a good amount of literature that supports your point of view. The literature helps you tell the story. And it says to the reader, okay, this person is not just dreaming this up. This person has a valid perspective. And that perspective is grounded in the literature. So I'm not just making this up. I'm actually getting this from the literature. The literature supports what I'm saying. Now that's a lot different than just summarizing literature on a specific topic. Okay. So a literature review is not about summarizing literature. A literature review is about presenting an argument and using the literature to support that argument. Okay.
Okay.
So it's very important that you know APA because that's what you're using as a reference style guide. So so you're going to have a lot of in-text citations.
Okay. Okay.
So, and you need to cite as you go along. Don't wait till the end to cite. So I think you guys are using APA 6. Your Microsoft Word already has APA 6 built in. Use that feature. It's in the reference tab.
Okay. I have reference tab. It's already there.
Yeah, it's already in your Microsoft Word. Just
Yeah,
go
I
to
just opened, yes. And there
just
is
go to
style
reference.
written APA. Yes, I went to the reference, and there is style says APA, 6th
Right.
edition.
6th edition, right. So I
Yes.
think you guys are still doing 6th edition. All right.
Yes.
So when you cite your work, cite as you go along. What the good thing about that program in Microsoft Word is it will manage and store all your references for you, and it will format your in-text in your reference page for you.
Okay. Yeah, there is an option for insert citation.
Yep. Yep. So when you insert a citation, what it will do is insert wherever you put the cursor, it will insert the in-text citation for you.
Okay.
Okay. But what you have to do is you have to plug in the appropriate information that Microsoft asks for, like the author's first name and last name, or first,
Okay.
whatever. I think it's initials in APA
Yeah.
in 6th edition. So the last name and then the initials. All right. Now, what you have to do before you turn your paper in, because sometimes Microsoft Word is not 100% correct, is you need to take the APA book and make sure this is at the end that all the formatting is correct. You can get an APA, you can get a 6th edition APA book online for free. Just put 6th edition APA PDF, and there should be a whole bunch of PDFs to come that show you how to just verify that all the formatting in Microsoft Word is correct.
Okay.
But that's something you can work in at the end. The main thing is to brainstorm, figure out what your position is. You can base your position on your reading and what you read.
Okay.
And then come up with a thesis first, right? And that thesis can come from basically what you already have written. See if you can read what you have written, see if you can come up with a thesis. All right. The important thing is that you are convicted about your thesis, that you actually believe in it. Okay.
Okay.
So when you're writing on a master's level, you're writing because you actually believe in the stuff. And then what happens is it makes the writing fun and interesting, and it doesn't become as much of a burden because now you're really interested in the topic because it's your thesis, and now you need to defend your thesis. And in the literature review, you're just finding literature that supports your position. All right. Now, in the case of, well, you say, well, Ray, there's not going to be a lot of literature about, 6th grade females from poor villages in Bangladesh, and that's probably true regarding language assessment. That's probably true, but now that's where you get creative. So you don't need to just pull up 6th grade females from Bangladesh. You can pull up 6th grade females from Asia in general, from poor places all throughout the world. You just get creative in how you tell the story.
Okay.
Right? You have to get creative. You have to find, and this is where you have to be good at searching for what you're looking for and connecting the dots. All right. So literature review is about connecting the dots because you're not going to always find specifically what you're looking for per se, but you have to find literature that's associated with the points that you're trying to make.
Okay.
And just remember, you can't make anything up because making something up is considered plagiarism. Right?
Okay, so I have to take from facts.
Be creative, but make sure that you're not making things up. Okay, be creative on how you tell the story.
Okay.
In a literature review, don't be afraid to include a lot of citations. You know, you might have a citation in every sentence. That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
So don't feel like you're overcitating in a literature review. Okay. If you are, I'd rather you overcitate than undercitate. Okay.
Okay.
Because if you overcitate, it's easy just to delete some stuff. Okay.
Okay.
The last thing that's essential to know is that you must work on your paraphrasing and summarizing. Remember, paraphrasing is taking an original idea and putting it in your own words. Okay, and when you paraphrase, you must citate. Right. So you see something in the journal, you have to put it in your own words and then citate it. All right. You don't want to direct quote a lot in the essay, maybe 1-2 times in the whole essay. So you're going to mainly paraphrase and summarize. The difference between paraphrasing and summarizing is in a paraphrase, you're not injecting your own idea. It's the original author's idea. You're just writing it in your own words. However, in a summary, which you do not have to cite, a summary. It's your idea, all right? It's your idea, and you may be, it's your idea driven by your reading, okay?
Okay.
So you read something, and because you read something, it inspired you to write something else. So you don't have to cite that because basically that's your original idea. But if you're paraphrasing, if you are taking someone's idea wholly and completely, you need to write it in your own words. And when you paraphrase, obviously it should be supporting your position.
Okay.
So you may have a lot of citations in this project, and that's fine. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So once you do this, once you begin to brainstorm, once you write a thesis, why don't you message that? Let's look at your thesis and your brainstorm on next week.
Okay.
And see where you are. Okay.
Okay.
And again, take the information that you already have, all right, that you already wrote, the 800 words that you already wrote, and see if you can make that the basis of your brainstorm, and see if you can come up with a thesis based on that. All right. If you can still get confused on thesis statement, there's a lot of videos on YouTube explaining how a thesis statement should look. There's also thesis statement generators. So if you Google thesis statement generators, these generators will help you kind of construct a thesis statement.
Okay.
It's a program that you just plug in some information. It'll help you construct a thesis statement.
Okay.
All right. So the next time we speak, please do a brainstorm. Talk to me about what your position is, and have a thesis statement, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
Right? It also mentions an abstract. All right, we write the abstract last. The abstract is very easy to write. That's the last thing you do, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right. So let's talk next Wednesday and see where you are.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for your time. It's really appreciated. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
It helped me to understand. Inshallah, I will try to do it. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks.